Chronic versus Daniel. I've not had either player on stream recently for show matches. Well, actually, like I said, I casted Daniel versus Jorias before the LA Major. That's the last time I casted a best of 5 with Daniel in it. Jorias was able to narrowly win that one. It was a super exciting series, though. If you didn't watch it, I'd encourage you to go do that. And I don't remember the last time I casted Chronic. I'm going to go and Control F him on my channel. Oh, I casted Chronic in the... Do you guys remember the Chronic versus Lion Blaze mega lag, like 1v1 that we had? I don't know if any of you are going to remember that one. It was 8 months ago. I casted Chronic versus Lion Blaze and the server lagged out in the most hilarious way. I totally forgot about that, but I definitely need to go and watch that back. Because it was hilarious. Yeah, Lion Blaze won that one. So, Chronic trying to come back with a bang here. Yeah, that was phenomenal. We didn't even switch servers. Yeah, we just stuck with it. It was a great... honestly, like, it caught me off guard. I remember that one caught me off guard so much. Like, this is great content because I didn't expect this. So, we have seen Chronic and Daniel play, like I mentioned at the start of the stream. We've seen them play once more recently than the last time that I've casted both of them. Daniel versus Jorias and Chronic versus Lion Blaze. Both those series going against the players we're currently watching. Love this approach from Chronic. Look at that. This is such an educational setup from Chronic. You guys can all do this in your own games. You don't need mechanics. Just get a bit of an angle in the dribble. Nice little run up at again, sharp angle. Don't even need to dodge into the ball, and it is a tough shot to save. That I have to watch it back in the replay just to show everybody how easy it is to send a banger on the net without having to commit at all. And that's the key. You're not committing at all. So you can immediately recover and do something else. Steal the boost, land a bump in the opponent, get another shot on target, or just reposition to react to whatever's happening. Nice little bump there for the second goal as well. Anyway, before Chronic scored one of my favorite types of goals to see at pro level, and that's because it's just so easy to do for anyone at any mechanical level. I was about to mention that we have seen them in the crew battle 1v1s recently, and Chronic did great for his team all mid, helping them to qualify for the LAN in Saudi Arabia. Now, Daniel also helped his team qualify for the LAN, but the main storyline, absolute banger there from Daniel, great power shot. The main storyline for Daniel in the crew battles recently has actually been the struggles that he's had in those best of ones. He's had Razebull step up and pop off against him, but that actually was more because of how great Razebull was than because Daniel played poorly. And I do think if those two played a series against each other, Daniel would probably win it. It's a lovely little reset double here as well. I can't get a train of thought going here because these players keep on making huge plays. Yeah, I think if Daniel and Razebull played a series, which is something I would love to see, by the way, I'd love to see Daniel versus Razebull. Let me know if you guys would like to see that as well. Maybe I can make it happen. But I think Daniel would win it if they played a series. Even though Razebull showed that he can adapt. Oh my goodness, Daniel's just double reset dunked on Chronic. Let me finish a sentence, Daniel, please. Stop scoring bangers, I'm going to skip it. Go watch the replay if you want to see it again. Anyway. Yeah, I think if they played a series, I'd pick Daniel to win. But Razebull did show that he can adapt versus Alpha Kep, so it would be super interesting. Right, even though Daniel did lose that first game to Razebull, he beat him in the rematch. He did beat him in the rematch. They went 1-1 in that event between each other. They both beat each other once. Both games were phenomenal. And I'd love to see more from that matchup. Now, of course, Daniel, more recently, lost a best of one to Rapid. I think he was playing a little bit awkwardly in that series because he had to play the Dominus hitbox, which isn't something that Daniel is as confident with, as comfortable with in 1v1. So I think now that he's back in his more regular Octane, he's going to be able to play with more confidence, especially with his aerial game. But again, I have to give credit to Rapid. I think Rapid had some great defensive stands. He had some great mind games in that matchup, and I've covered the Daniel versus Razebull and Daniel versus Rapid games in different YouTube videos on my channel. If you guys haven't seen them already, I did cover those on the replays. Yeah, Chronic helped all mid qualify as well, so these guys have definitely both had success in the crew battle ones. Very different. Oh my days, it's very different from a series though. Whoa, what was that save by Chronic? How has he kept that out? And he's not actually conceding in the immediate follow-up. Usually after a save like that, a player's in huge trouble. Actually, he is in quite a lot of trouble here. Daniel missed an open net. But he did well to stay relevant and get a follow-up save as well. Daniel's all over him though. One reset. Gonna take the ball to the far corner. Nice recovery there from Daniel after realizing that he couldn't get a goal immediately. Just bailed for the boost steal. Chronic's defense and one long-range open net miss from Daniel have actually left this game in a very tense position. Little boost steals coming in from Chronic here. Couldn't get the big boost steal because it wasn't spawning in time. He's actually jumped a bit too high over the mid boost there as well. Not that Daniel could go back and pick it up. Delayed frick delayed frick from Daniel. You guys know what I mean. Chronic's going to get the boost steal in his own corner. Not even a steal, just securing it on spawn. Chronic looking very good in the matchup. I expect him to be happy with, honestly, well, I don't actually know what he'd be happy with, but I'm going to predict a one-game win for Chronic out of this series, and that, I think, would be a good result, because a lot of people are saying Daniel's fallen off a little bit in ones. Maybe he's not as dominant as he was before, but I still think he looks beastly when he plays. He, you know, looks terrifying in the air. He's positionally active, really forcing his opponent to make plays, sometimes a position they're not comfortable with. Yeah, I think Daniel looks close to his peak. He's not obviously there results-wise, but I think ability-wise, definitely still has it. Chronic putting up a mighty stand to keep game one close here. Great to see Chronic back at his best, because he used to be a top 3 NA1s player. You know, back in the first killer days. Look at this. Chronic with the immediate read on Daniel's first touch sends in an equalizer. That was just a hard read by Chronic. He knew that Daniel could see him coming, but he delayed the approach to bait that first touch from Daniel, and Daniel was looking to, you know, read a fake challenge out of Chronic there, but Chronic just called the bluff, and he's going to take the lead now with a kickoff goal. What a comeback by Chronic. You know, we've had one Daniel open net miss, but the rest of this has just been defensive masterclass from Chronic. Boost management has been phenomenal, and he has taken his chances so well. Wave dash kickoff now, just to make sure that Daniel's not going to get an easy kickoff goal against him. Now with not a lot of time left, it's Chronic with the boost advantage and possession. That's got to be game over. Can Daniel do anything about this? Chronic's going to take it to the air, waste the rest of the time, and now all he's got to do is snipe the floor, but he goes for the goal instead. 6-4. That's a statement from Chronic. Huge game win. Well, I said he was going to get one. I didn't think it was going to be this one, because he was 4-2 down. Daniel was all over him. He was pressuring, he was attacking, he was shooting constantly, and somehow Chronic managed to dig himself out of that hole and take the win. Great stuff. Can Daniel regain? It's going to all be about the kickoffs to start off with. Luckily for both players, I think it's the straight spawn, so we're not going to get a kickoff goal here. Very, very rare to get a kickoff goal on that one. I've said it many times before on my channel, but I like to repeat myself with these aspects of the game every now and then in case we've got new viewers. If you're wondering why that is, you know, why can't kickoffs occur as much in the straight spawn as the other, pretty much any other spawn in 1v1. It's just because it's more difficult to generate an angle. It's also more risky to attempt to generate an angle to hit the ball past your opponent. So players tend to just try and hit the ball dead center in order not to get dunked on, and that leads to both players usually going quite even. Now in the other spawns, there's a lot more. There's more variables. And that time actually, I think Daniel messed up his kickoff. I don't think he got what he wanted there. Dodged a bit too late on the approach and landed right next to the ball. Actually made a mistake that's a very common mistake in the lower ranks, where you land too close to the ball and then you don't actually have time to jump and flip into it. You saw what happened. The ball just ramps up off the car. Often it will go straight into the net. So Daniel pretty lucky that it didn't go even worse than it did there. I'll have to watch out. I doubt it was intentional, but you never know. It might just be a new kickoff strat. There's so many of them these days. Will Daniel try to just turn his cart into a ramp on any other kickoffs and prove that that was in fact deliberate the first time it happened? Good demo dodge. Coming out of Chronic, he's got a bit of space to work with. Goes straight for the wall. Awkward first touch for him to work with. He did well to only use 40 boost in that first aerial play, saving enough to go for a second one. But with that second one, the first touch wasn't good enough either. And now he's missed the boost. Daniel going to back him up into the corner. His first touch on the flick is also a little bit off. Both players not able to get the setup right there, but Chronic gets it third time lucky. Couldn't get the aerial plays working. The ground play looking good. That's a mistake from Daniel. In an attempt to take the ball back to his own corner, leaves it in the midfield for Chronic to take from him. Thank you, by the way, to Foxbell for the 19-month prime. We got 9-month prime from Oscar000. KZ Butler 12 of the 25-month prime, sorry. And also Bidness RL with the 44-month tier 1. 10-month tier 1 from Teriyaki Child. And Schmitty3691 with the 2-month prime. Welcome back. Chronic must be a little bit frustrated here. Usually when you see something like that, the camera look back feature being spammed, it could just be cold hands trying to warm up the mechanics, or a little bit of frustration. I would think the latter, because he's had great positions but not used them to the best of his ability. He's going to use this one though. That is outrageous. Just slow-mo air dribble into the bump from Chronic to put himself up by 1. He is bringing his A game here today. We saw the defensive masterclass in game 1. And now we're seeing what he can do with some possession. I want to see more of those camera look back flicks from Chronic if that's what happens after he does it. What is Daniel going to do to try and regain control of this one? He was in full control, I want to remind you guys, in game 1. 2-goal lead, numerous possession plays, tons of time on the ball, plenty chances, even an open net from distance. But it was all Chronic and has remained all Chronic since that moment, and it still is. We saw from Daniel's POV that Chronic got a ton of lift in this. He actually had the ball behind him. His setups look pretty awkward, I'm going to be honest. That's the 3rd time now that I've seen an aerial setup this game from Chronic, and I've thought to myself, yeah, that's not what he wanted. That's not the first touch that he was looking for here. Obviously, he wants the ball to be a little bit in front of him, but I guess he can work with it even if it's behind him. He's able to get back in a good position. Now that's a much better first touch. Options for Chronic, and he goes for the near post double. He is popping off on Daniel now. Reset, double tap from Chronic. How are you supposed to predict that? 4-1 is a comebackable score, but Daniel's in a lot of trouble here. It's all Chronic at the moment. This is absolute peak from him. I mean, we saw him in Crew Battle 1s for the Gamers Without Borders tournament. He wasn't doing anything like this. He is styling on Daniel. Now the flip reset air dribble and a little bit of a dunk on the goal line as well. What is happening? Well, he's fixed his first touch problem. Getting a lot more right now. What it does is it saves so much boost in the setup. If you can just nail the first touch on a pop, then you don't need to use a lot of boost to get the ball into position to score. That just gives you confidence to go for the shot because you've got a boost to recover with that you didn't need to waste in the setup. Daniel looking for the read on the bounce here. It's not going to bounce down for him. That would have been stunning to see as well from the player I thought would be the heavy favourite in this matchup. Can he come back from a losing position? Heavy touch off the wall. Wants the immediate shot. Chronic's there for it. Had the whole goal covered there. Now Chronic fakes the challenge. Reverses in legitimately. He's messed up a chain dash there. Can Daniel get back to the ball in time? He's going to take one run up at this. Shoot low. Chronic blocks. Wow. He really just has Daniel read here. He is predicting the shooting angles, predicting when he needs to challenge, and he's causing massive problems for Daniel in defense as well, which usually isn't an issue. Daniel tends to be pretty bulletproof against any offense in the world. Chronic on a different level right now. Phenomenal to see. What a return to form for one of the legends of NA 1v1. He's going to go up by 5 now. Daniel having to overextend here just to attempt a late comeback. Can't really blame him for making the effort. As it often does, it results in another goal for his opponent. Sminars, thanks for the prime. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you here. We're going to be needing a reverse sweep from Daniel if he's going to come back here. It's possible. We've seen him do it before. But with the level that Chronic is showing us at the moment, you start to wonder, is it possible for Daniel to win 3 straight if Chronic can keep up his current form? I don't know if it is. I mean, The offense we're seeing from Chronic is ridiculous. The defense, ridiculous. Now, is he conceding pressure in the midfield? No. Is he managing his boost early? No. In fact, the only criticism I've got for his gameplay is that some of his offensive setups were a bit awkward, but he didn't overextend after awkwardly setting up some air dribbles and dribbles. He just bailed out, went for a went for a boost steal, went for a bump onto Daniel, went for a 50-50. He always had a plan B in the situations where he didn't get plan A to work out well. So really, my only criticism's kind of a compliment at the same time. We wouldn't have been able to see just how well organized Chronic's gameplay was had he completely nailed everything first time. Alright, we're going to need to remake the server buildings things. Daniel's focused on threes. Well, I mean, so is Chronic. I've not seen Chronic in the ones leaderboard for a bit. I mean, yeah, Daniel's definitely putting a lot more time into threes than he used to. And that's smart to do. But don't forget, Chronic is also a player who's having to play these RLCS 3s events. Listen, he's not far off getting that. Oh my goodness. Extravagant, but almost brilliant from Chronic once again. But yeah, he actually has to put a ton of time into threes as well, because Chronic not only has to play the RLCS events, but he has to qualify for them as well. Daniel doesn't have to qualify. His team automatically qualifies. So, you know, Chronic puts a lot of time into threes as well. I'm just saying, you can't just say Daniel's losing because he's playing 3v3. No, Daniel's losing this because Chronic is playing brilliantly. And Daniel, I don't think, was expecting this kind of level out of Chronic. They've played a lot in the past. They're familiar with each other's playstyles. Daniel knows what he's up against, but I mean, the difference I'm seeing from Chronic is that he just seems to have so much more confidence in his aerial game compared to the old Chronic back in the day, who would mix in aerial plays, but generally be a grounded player. But now he just seems to just go with the flow, at least so far in this series. If the wall play looks good, he's going for it. If the ground play looks good, he's going for it. He's just playing whatever looks best in the position, instead of trying to play any particular strategy, which is wonderful to see. I think it's probably the peak way to play 1v1. Fake challenge off the wall now from Chronic. Can he recover in time? No, not enough to get the boost seal in his corner. Seal comes through for Daniel. Yeah, clearly the level that Chronic is at right now is absurd. Daniel nearly landed a demo there. Chronic able to dodge out of the way. And he's sitting close to the ball here to guarantee the boost steal. He didn't want to give Daniel a free touch onto that. He's also quite happy to take his time. Decent setup for Chronic here. But look at the bailout. He, I think, overcommitted on this one a little bit, but he doesn't go for the shot. Good job by Daniel. So he is able to punish an overcommit by Chronic, but again, in that setup, Chronic didn't get the first and the second touch that he wanted. He was using quite a lot of boost to get the ball under control, but he didn't just flip at the ball and hope for the best. He knows that Daniel's going to save that, so he went for something a little bit more spicy. Now again, he's going to slow it down and drill the ball through Daniel for the 50-50 equalizer. Now watch Chronic's approach once again. You know, does that look like a good angle to be shooting the ball with a flip reset? Well, maybe for some players, but Chronic knows if he shoots that with the dodge mid-air, Daniel's probably saving it. Daniel's defense is unreal. So he doesn't do that. He just catches the ball, plays for the 50-50 instead. It's a great demo by Daniel. Not sure how he managed to generate so much speed, but I think the dodge last second sent him supersonic. Chronic up in the air with a crazy pre-jump, but one that's worked wonderfully. He's landed on the mid-boost. He's going to have an angle here, and he's got it off the post. 2-1. Daniel completely speechless and completely lost for what to do against Chronic, who's pre-jumping him. He's successfully challenging him, and even when Daniel does back him up into the net, Chronic's making saves there as well. He's really playing a brilliant series here. And once more, Chronic mind gaming on the approach. He didn't want to dodge. It looked like he didn't want to dodge into the ball mid-air because the recovery was not going to be a good one. So he just waited. How has he pre-jumped this? Guys, what on earth are we watching? Has Chronic downloaded Daniel somewhere? Where's the Daniel download that I've not heard about? He must be available online or something. This is unbelievable. there has to be a download somewhere, because it doesn't make sense that Chronic's able to read him as well as he is. He tries to snipe the bottom corner with the ceiling shot, not able to do so. Daniel looking to get the long shot in, and he does. Second counter-attack goal for Daniel of the game. I'll tell you what, I think Chronic almost had that. And if he top carded the shot, it would have been extremely difficult for Daniel to save while landing outside the net. And Daniel going to be up against a boost disadvantage. And he creates a little bit of space with the midfield flick. And he manages to shrug Chronic off the boost as well. Daniel not going to try and pinch it in from that angle. Instead goes for the boost steal. Long game for Daniel. Look at the aggression out of Chronic. This is something Daniel did not expect. Chronic with one boost just went. He just goes. He doesn't care. He's mixing in the aggression phenomenally well here. And there's no way that Daniel saw that coming after stealing the boost away. He's expecting Chronic to turn, go back to his box, get small pads, and prepare to defend, which is something he needed to do here. Daniel skips past him, ties the game again. Great control. He's still in this. Still fighting from every deficit. Now he's got a good kickoff setup. Chronic wave dashes back to the corner. 100 boosts for both. Double reset for Daniel. Oh, he uses it as a mind game. Unreal. The double flip reset fake from Daniel. And Chronic knew he had that one. But honestly, it didn't really matter if Daniel faked this, 50'd it, hit it. They were all going to be tough shots to save. The setup could not have been better for young Dan. And now he goes off the other wall. Chronic not wanting to wait on the goal line like he did last time and find out what's going to happen. Plays for the immediate challenge. This is a Chronic that I think is significantly improved from different variations of Chronic we've seen in the past. The early challenges we've seen from him today have been better than any that I've ever seen him do. The timing of them, the surprise factor, it's all been there. And he's even got Daniel jumping at plays like this now in case Chronic goes. That's such a great thing for Chronic to have done. He's always got Daniel now thinking that Chronic might be going. Good awareness there by Daniel to know that the back wall demo is a real threat in the position. Chronic using the ball cam, or turning it off I should say, to spot Daniel's challenge there. He's got the ball in a really good position despite the fact he had no boost. He managed to get it in a good flick angle. Oh, look at the recovery from Daniel. That's outrageous. Chronic did well here. Daniel did better. 2-goal difference. Perfect recovery on the inside of the net. And another counter-attack goal for Daniel. It's just another example of how versatile Daniel is. He's had to play very defensively here, but he's very good at that. The counter-attacking playstyle working out well for him. In game number 3, no sweep today. At least not yet. Who knows what we're going to have later in the stream. This is great stuff though. These guys, I really do think that Daniel is not far off his peak. I don't know about you guys, but anyone saying Daniel's washed in ones, I think you're crazy. I think he looks pretty good. I don't think he looks like peak Daniel. But he's not far off. I really don't think he's far off. I think he's pretty close. I think the difference is that other players have really elevated. This is a new version of Chronic that I don't think we've seen before. Daniel playing hard mode now. Flip reset. Air dribble. And a lovely little scoop underneath Chronic as well. Unreal. Just actually unreal. I mean, we've seen Chronic, like I said, peak at number 3 NA. I think top 3 North America is probably where he peaked at, around about Salt Mine 1 era. Holy cow. He just hit the bar from a ridiculous distance. That's so unfortunate for Chronic. He hit it too well. Oh, Daniel wants to give it a go as well. Oh my goodness, the acceleration these guys can get on the ball from standstill flicks. Truly unreal. I think Chronic wisely not committing there, Daniel, with an easy read. Oh, he's out of position now though. Chronic didn't see that one coming. Daniel with another long shot. This time putting himself up by 2. Yeah, that's a bit risky there by Chronic. You know, I've been crediting him for mixing up the challenge timing, but that wasn't so much. That wasn't really a challenge. That was just a position where Daniel's definitely going to shoot from. Saved by Chronic. Daniel actually using all of his boost for that one. He's not going to get back in time to stop the counter attack. Sminars, thanks for 5 gifted. Welcome to all the new subs. Be sure to thank Sminars if you did get gifted a sub there. We got all brand new subs, no random resubs. Daniel kind of looking like a floor double setup. Instead, waits and attempts the last second shot. Half volley, pinch-esque connection. So interesting to see how late players commit to one play in the air these days. Daniel, they're threatening the floor double, but because Chronic didn't leave the goal line, Daniel waits and waits and waits. Decides to go for the floor pinch instead. That should be 3 though. Chronic decided to go for a half chance. And I guess it's technically open, but it's a really, really tough read. Tough shot from that position as well. And the reverse sweep continues. Daniel very much in the driver's seat now. Fake challenge by Chronic. Daniel decides to play the ball into the corner. Not sure about that one, because Chronic has easily scored down the other end. Daniel, trying to set up the boost steal. Clearly, that's what he's played for here. But the shot, a bit too hard. If you're going to go for a boost steal, it's good to waste as much time for your opponent. Chip the ball awkwardly at them so that they need to save the ball in an angle that's not going to immediately allow them to recover. Still though, it was a great recovery by Chronic. Now Daniel from distance. He's hit that one a bit too far in front of him. Chronic spotted that and immediately moved in for the challenge. You need such eagle eyes to defend aerial plays these days. Any heavy touch mid-air needs to be capitalized on. If you let a player get back to the ball, stuff like this happens. Daniel up by 2 again. Pinnacle Chip, thanks to the 18-month Prime. Welcome back to the channel, man. I'd like to see some sneaky kickoffs from Daniel at some point. I think a really good kickoff for Daniel to do, actually, would be some kind of fake kickoff on the diagonal spawn. Either a full leave the ball kickoff, like we see from Jorya's a ton these days, or just, an old-fashioned fake kickoff. Oh, Chronic's completely missed the goal there. He had a good idea. The fake worked out. Daniel didn't commit at the moment that would have been most effective for challenging. Chronic missed the target by a long way. Huge flick now as well. My goodness. I mean, is it possible for these guys to flick the ball at a slower pace so we can keep up with where it's at? That would be nice. Every flick just getting sent to the moon here. Funnily enough, given the position of the moon in Manfield Night, that flick really was being sent to the moon. And Chronic just completely bundles in a third goal. Daniel, for the second time this game, caught in the back corner, stealing that same boost. This time he missed it as well, and getting scored on. That's easily the biggest mistake we've seen from Daniel in this game. Chronic able to keep the activity up here. That buys him time to get 100 boosts. And, well, look at this. We're seeing something out of... It looks like they're ice skaters. What do you call it at the Olympics when there's just the 2 skaters? What's the event called? Is it just called, like, duo skating? It just looks like ice skaters perfectly mirroring each other's move. Figure skating, that's the one. Thank you, chat. That's the one. Synchronized skating. That's a banger from Chronic. He's hit the post, though. Yeah, 2's skating, that's right. The 2v2. Nah, I think it's just called figure skating. Doubles. Is it called doubles? Pairs? Is it called pairs? That's what I always think whenever I see a ceiling challenge like this. It's almost like ceiling shadowing, where somebody's coming in for an aerial play, and you go for a ceiling reset into flying back towards your own net to shadow them. It's crazy that is not only a legitimate strategy, but very often the best strategy to go for. Daniel coming in for a ceiling challenge here. Chronic saw it coming. He did really well to pull the shot off before Daniel arrived. Mixed doubles. Is it mixed mixed double? Mixed pairs? Mixed pairs figure skating? Is that what it's called? Yeah, that's what it looks like. We might get blessed with another Chronic ceiling shadowing defensive play. I'd love to see one. He's used a lot of boost in this setup here. The recovery is not going to be good, so Daniel should be scoring. This is something Chronic didn't do earlier in the series. This is something he avoided doing earlier in the series. Any kind of heavy touch from Chronic on an air dribble would be followed up usually with boost management. And, whatever plan B is, probably just recovering quickly. But that time he just committed fully, used all of his boost, just to get the ball back under his control. I'm not sure it was a good idea because at 1-goal deficit, do you need to go all in on a play that probably isn't working? No, you don't. You could probably you could wait for a better chance. But now Chronic's got 2 goals to come back from. Thought about a bump, decided to go for the flick instead, and Daniel had the top corner covered. Great save, and another great win for Daniel. We are going to game 5. This is such an unpredictable series, really. Daniel came out hot in game 1, was dominating possession, was really dictating the flow of the game. Chronic came back, carried that momentum into game 2, and really just styled on Daniel in that second game. It really, it looked like Chronic might be able to carry that momentum even into game 3, but Daniel, since that comeback in the 3rd game, has had the edge. And we are going to go to game 5 here to settle the series. This has been one of the most enjoyable series we've seen in a long time. Huge mechanical plays, ridiculous defensive reads, 2 players just trying to counter each other's moves. Chronic's going to need to keep up the confidence. He was challenging phenomenally well earlier in the series. That, I think, caught Daniel off a ton, kept him guessing even more. So Chronic's going to need to be aggressive. It was working for him earlier. Daniel will need to be clinical. Already he is. Oh my. That might be the worst possible way for Chronic to concede in the first 10 seconds of a game. Daniel flip reset and then wave dashes on the spot to let the ball bounce in. That's a mind game and a flex at the same time. Chronic will need to get a hold of the ball and regain. Daniel actually deciding not to shoot first time there. I think he should have, because now Chronic's got a chance, not just to reposition, but to take the boost in the back corner. Oh my goodness, he left it out open. Daniel missed it though. I don't know if it was possible to score. We couldn't see from Chronic's angle if Daniel beamed that or if it was just not possible from that angle. Oh, Chronic will score at the other end anyway. Great low flick after Daniel's pre-jumped so many saves to the top shelf. Chronic decides to delay the flick as long as possible, goes underneath him. The timing on that, absolutely key. We'll have to see at the end of this series, was that an open net miss from Daniel, or was it just a really great decision by Chronic to leave the boost, or leave the ball, go for the boost, because it wasn't in a scoreable position. I mean, Chronic definitely thought it wasn't in a scoreable position, which is why he left it. We'll have to take a look later, guys. Remind me after this game. Go and see what exactly happened there. Where does Chronic place in the NA1 scene? It's tough to place Chronic in the NA1 scene recently. I mean, there's a lot of beastly NA1s players. My top 5 recently was First Killer, AJ, Daniel, Evo, Lionblaze. That's my top 5 in no particular order. But Chronic's got to be right outside there with performances like this, the performances that he put up in the Gamers Without Borders tournament. Oh, that's class from Daniel. Expertly done. He's taken every small pad on that side of the field, every big pad, and walks around Chronic to score the 2-1 lead. So many players would have played ball there and given the back boost to their opponent, but Daniel took every boost. He took the big pad, he took literally every small pad in that entire corner of the field. Chronic, all he could do was challenge and hope for the best. Now, has he got the bump onto Daniel here? Oh, Daniel fakes it. That's bold. Chronic fakes it as well, although he kind of had to. He didn't want to just flip into Daniel's net there. All in on a risky position. He's taking his time. That's a great first touch from Chronic. This is efficient. Oh, he doesn't get a good reset on the ball though. Daniel saw that and will go up by 2. 3rd goal for Daniel. That was a mistake from Chronic. He had the perfect first touch, but the reset was too far forward in the ball. He lost control. Daniel, watchful eye as ever, saw that happening and immediately pounced on it. Daniel's really gone into a kickoff rhythm here. I was saying in the last game I'd love to see him fake a diagonal just to get the ball into a possession play. But look at this, triple reset. And a double tap just a bit too high on both. That's a great recovery by Chronic. After Daniel somehow still had more in the tank after missing a triple reset double tap, he managed to bump Chronic as well. Just, more layers to the attack. Chronic's recoveries, too good. Back within 1. Oh yes, Chronic's starting now to be the one mixing up the kickoff. Daniel's really got a good rhythm going. He's pushing every kickoff to the outside. Chronic having more success on the inside of his kickoffs. And I'll try and point out exactly what I mean by that for any new viewers watching when the next kickoff happens. Daniel settling for a high shot here. He knows Chronic's going to save it, but has the boost steal prepared. Fantastic challenge by Chronic there. Closing the distance. Didn't give Daniel time to turn around and send another shot on a low boost net. Chronic, once again, with the pre-jump. This time from the ground. He didn't have a ceiling reset to work with on that one. But he's doing this a ton in this matchup, and it's working so well for him. Just pre-jumping and flying in between Daniel and the ball. That control. Oh, that is just disgusting. The low boost dribble by Chronic. Look how he perfectly accelerates the ball as much as possible by letting it roll into the front of his card, delaying the dodge. The good old-fashioned, still functional 2022. Ties the game. Now, Chronic should really be dodging right here. That's where he's been stronger on the inside, and he does, and he's got a much better hitbox on it, but a little bit too side-on. Still, though, he'll take this much more gladly than conceding a boost advantage and possession at the same time, which is what's been happening in most of the kickoffs when he dodges on the outside of the ball. So, inside is the side of the pitch that you spawn on. Outside is dodging towards the side that you don't spawn on. And so the most simple switch up you can make in your kickoff game to try and get a better result against a player, especially a player like Daniel who got into a rhythm, started crunching every single kickoff to the outside as well as he was. Now Chronic's way out of the game here. He's got to just flip into the ball. He does. But still, that looked risky because it was risky. Now Chronic lunges. You know, he's just going because he doesn't want to have to wait and see what Daniel's going to attack him with next. But no pre-jump's going to save that one. I think the dodge from Chronic actually slowed down his recovery here. Daniel knocks him off the wall. And yeah, Chronic kind of messed up there. I think he might have been able to block that if he flew a bit lower before dodging. Not sure. Not sure. Still a great bump by Daniel. Either way, he's going to come away with possession and a boost advantage. That's immediately leveled out by Chronic. Oh, what a save as well to do that and actually gain some distance on the play. Shows you the level Chronic's defense has been for most of this series. Now Daniel sealing the boost away. Chronic knew it was coming. He's absolutely smashed the challenge straight into Daniel's net. I said at the start of this game, Chronic's going to need to keep the aggression up because these early challenges are what's keeping him in the series and actually swinging it in his advantage at times. So let's see what he decides to go for the kickoff. Chronic, I expect him to go left here. He goes for a wave dash. Now he's going to concede another possession. I thought he was going to go left because every time he doesn't, he tends to just be in awkward positions, and he kind of is here as well. That's awkward for Chronic, but luckily for him, he's able to shrug off the bump. Both players in a decent spot now. Boost available. And the ball also. Not for anyone to grab. Daniel decides to play it instead of going for his back corner boost. Leaves the mid boost, knowing that the shot will be dangerous. Chronic chips the slow one on target, knowing that Daniel's going to land precariously. But look at that from Daniel. He's managed to somehow recover here and keep Chronic at bay. Has he got another recovery in the bag? He does. Chronic forces Daniel back, pre-flips to deny the next possession play from the Space Station Gaming player as well. Daniel's ridiculously early challenge off the back wall connects. It's overtime, game 5 to decide it. Chronic's going big on the outside. Oh, he really committed for that. He was so weak on the inside there, but it didn't matter because Daniel went outside as well. Flip reset for Chronic. It's a double. He goes for the pre-flip and he's done it. Chronic takes it in OT in unbelievable fashion. What a series, and what a game by Chronic. What a way to win it against one of the most legendary flip reset players, the most legendary ones players, not just in North America but in the world. Chronic is back, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody asked me earlier on, where do I put him in NA right now? Well, let's say inside the top 10 without question. That was unbelievable.